Hello, I'm Peter Marzano, and Gabby's a bit under the weather, and it seems that the Chicago Bulls have the same feeling. Now, all was looking well for the Chicago Bulls, holding the #1 seed in the NBA Eastern Conference for their second consecutive year. It looked like they were ready to go on to another title route, but that didn't necessarily happen. As we saw Saturday, some heartbreaking event tried to stop this, and it seems it has taken quite a dig on what is happening to the Bulls right now. Derrick Rose has tore his ACL and is out for the remainder of the playoffs. Now, the Chicago Bulls have survived the season pretty well without Derrick Rose for most of their games, with great secondary leadership from players like Luol Deng and Joakim Noah. But it's at this point that the Bulls need to start to realize what they need to do in order to continue in the playoffs without Derrick Rose. Now, while many don't doubt that the Chicago Bulls can't win their first-round series against the 8th-seeded Philadelphia 76ers, that title path gets a lot harder after the first round. With the Miami Heat sure to beat the New York Knicks in the first round, we see a potential Bulls-Heat matchup potentially in the conference finals and a much tougher team, possibly the winner of the Boston-Atlanta series in the second round. The Chicago Bulls have a lot of experience now since they have been to the playoffs for quite a few years in a row. But what the Bulls need to do is one simple solution: not panic since Derrick Rose is gone. Now, as we can see through this, that the Chicago Bulls are in that tough position, and they are definitely aware of that. But just like Gabby, who is feeling under the weather, they can't stop that. And while Gabby obviously let it stop her, the Bulls can't let themselves stop, as the postseason is a time where they really need to get through to try and win their first NBA championship since 1998. The Chicago Bulls have quite a tough road ahead of them, but we have to see how they can finish up the series against Philadelphia 76ers, led by Andre Iguodala. In the first round, despite Derrick Rose getting injured, the Chicago Bulls did win Saturday's game by 12 points, and we will see the Bulls face off against the 76ers Tuesday. Now, while I think the Chicago Bulls will not let this impact their series against the 76ers necessarily, most likely probably still winning the series within 5 or 6 games, what's going to happen after that is very much up in the air. Now, I think that the Bulls can get to possibly the conference finals without Derrick Rose, and maybe even to the NBA finals if somebody upsets the Miami Heat, which is quite possible considering that there are 2 teams in the Eastern Conference who know very well how to play the Miami Heat besides the Chicago Bulls. Those being the Atlanta Hawks, division rival of the Heat, and the Boston Celtics, who have had the Miami Heat's number this entire season. So we don't necessarily know what's going to happen on either side of the spectrum. But we do know one thing for certain: the Bulls are in sorts of a panic mode right now, and it's going to take them some time to figure out what they necessarily need to do to balance out the leadership between the remaining players that are still making quite an impact, such as Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Rip Hamilton, and, of course, the fan favorite Brian Scalabrine. Not really, but the White Mamba definitely does bring a spark to the Chicago Bulls, but how much of a spark will he bring to possibly win a championship? We don't know. But since the Chicago Bulls are left in this tough position, let's see how far they can get past the 76ers and maybe past that point. But hopefully the Bulls don't let this hurt them too much so they can still have a successful postseason and hopefully bring back banner number 7. This has been Peter Marzano, and Gabe's still a bit under the weather.